I don't know if your experience is the same as mine in this season, but it really feels like if you just watch what people put on social media, it would seem that everybody's lives are great. People are cooking new things, they picked up new hobbies, they're just enjoying this time. And, but again, for me, what I've been noticing as we dig behind that and get into people's lives is that there is a lot of struggle in this season. People are dealing with a lot of stuff, and it's not just like economic hardship, but it's so many different factors. I feel like a lot of us are seeing the enemy really at work. And it's not just about some virus that's going around, but it's about different things that he's trying to pick at in each of our lives. It could be anxiety or fear or bitterness and strife or lust, different things that are coming to the surface in this season, both in our hearts and in people around us. And at We Are Church, we always want to be fighting to go to that deeper level, to know what's really going on in our lives. So I want to start with that encouragement. Let's make sure that we're getting behind the surface. Even in our gatherings on Zoom, we could still try to hide. It's so important in this season to be engaged in discipleship relationship, to know what's going on, to be walking with each other, to be honest about what's going on, because people are going through it. And I want to bring up a question right here, though. What if things are only going to get harder? Are we ready for that? And I'm not saying that they are. I'm not saying I'm not making any predictions or prophetic bold statements right here. I'm just saying, man, when I read the Bible, I come away expecting a lot of hardship, more than what I've experienced in my life, and even more than what we're experiencing right now. If we just move forward one chapter, we'll be reading on Monday in Matthew 24. Jesus answered, "Watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah, and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed." So, hey, don't freak out when things get kind of crazy. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you'll be hated by all nations because of me. Man, this is going to get rough, right? I mean, as you read this here in Matthew, but it's not just this passage, it's so many. You go, man, we as believers need to be ready for things to get really crazy. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other, and many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Man, that statement's powerful. The one who stands firm to the end will be saved. And my hope, church, is that in this season, as we are experiencing challenges, both internally and externally, relationally, as well as, economically, that we are those who are learning how to stand firm. We want to stand firm to the end, even if things get exponentially more difficult in the coming days. And again, who knows? I'm not making predictions, but it could. There was one leader who I respect saying, man, right now it feels like there's a 1 mile an hour current that, like a river, and the church is in, and the church is freaking out because there's a 1 mile an hour current, but that a 10 mile an hour current's coming, and then a 20 mile an hour current. And I don't know, I hold those things loosely, but we just don't know what's coming. And it makes me think too of Proverbs 24:10. If you falter in a time of trouble, how small is your strength? If you falter in a time of trouble, how small is your strength? I don't believe that's us. I believe that God is strengthening us that he wants to strengthen us. He wants to make us spiritually tougher. James 1, along those lines, verse 2, it's a passage that most of us are familiar with, but it's so important. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. So James would say of this current situation that we should be joyful. Why? Because we are being tested in a lot of different ways. I believe you are being tested. I believe that the people around you are being tested in unique ways in this season. And that we should count it joy because God is doing a work to strengthen us, to give us perseverance, and that perseverance would finish its work so that we would become mature and complete, that we would grow to maturity. It's kind of like, if you think back to being a kid where if you had a relative you see maybe once a year, every time that relative sees you, they say something like, wow, you've grown so much. But you don't think you've grown because you're there every second of every day. You have such incremental growth that it's so hard to even notice when you're there all the time. But from the outside looking in, they can see the growth. And that's often how it is in the Christian life. We don't even realize that we're growing when we're going through conflict, but that's what God's doing in us. He's doing a work. And if we choose to trust him in the middle of conflict, what he produces is perseverance and then maturity. And this is really every good story that we've ever seen in a movie or read. It always has some sort of conflict that a character goes through in which that character is transformed and grows. And so we know it to be so true in the fabric of everything, of life, that we grow and transform in the midst of conflict. And unfortunately for some, they are transformed in a negative way. And for some, they're transformed in a very positive way. And we want to make sure that we, in these conflicts, in this season, are looking to him and trusting in him that our growth would be in the positive way, that we would be being transformed in a very positive way, growing to maturity. James 4, verse 7, it says, submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and he will come near to you. This is a beautiful promise that as the enemy is attacking us in this season, it's not just this season, it's been that way, but it seems like a unique level of attack going on right now. And to cling to this promise when you are faced with temptations of anxiety and fear and lust and bitterness, unforgiveness, you name it, that if you resist the devil, if you resist those things, the enemy has to flee. And then when you then draw near to God, he's going to draw near to you. That's a promise. So when you are in the middle of temptation or conflict in this season, just know if you resist it, it's going to eventually pass, and you're going to be able to create new intimacy with God as you draw near to him. And then finally, passage I wanted to look at in Ephesians 6. Verse 10, and really this summarizes the word for us today. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. Be strong in the Lord, church. I believe the Lord is saying, be strong. We need to get stronger. He's trying to make us stronger. He's having us go through some stuff so that we would have to fight to trust him, fight to grow, fight against sin, so that we would become all the more stronger. Because we are not unaware of his schemes. And he is going to give us the strength to stand against the devil's schemes. Let's put on the armor of God. Let's be ready. Let's be aware that we're being attacked. Let's be aware that the enemy is prowling around like a lion seeking someone to devour, but knowing that we have what is necessary to resist him and to fight. Church, let's be strong. Let's trust him. You have strength in you. You have a spirit of great strength to resist temptation, to stay focused, to trust in him. Let's go, church.